Hello everyone, Dr. Jeff Galini here, and welcome to another episode of Ask the Scientist. This show is about busting myths and bringing you the truth. You know, I've done a few videos over the last 4 or 5 years on Ask the Scientist. Yes, it's been going that long, about what I did the last week before a contest. Now they call that peak week, and I'll bet every week I'll get at least a dozen people saying, hey, I saw an old video and I wonder if I can get a copy of what you did. I used to write out what I did for everybody, and I got smart a few years ago and I wrote a book, My Contest Prep Secrets. It's what I literally did for 16 weeks out, and I would start my contest prep 16 weeks out. The first 4 weeks, I actually increased my calories, but I cut out red meat, I cut out dairy, honeys, and anything else that wasn't part of my basically 12-week diet. Once I got onto my 12-week diet, I would bring my calories down slightly, but I ate a lot of food because I did cardio. That's why I was always able to carry a lot of muscle, but I was always very, very lean. So anyhow, this question comes in a lot, Dr. Jeff, can you help me with my peak week? So I always say this is what I did, because everybody's bodies are different. As I had to figure out what worked best for me, you have to figure out what works best for you. So here's what I used to do, is on Monday, this is with the show being that Saturday, this is where I would start to go no carbs. So I would cut out my carbohydrates, I would increase my sodium intake, I would salt everything, I would drink diet sodas, anything that had salt. Again, I'm overloading with salt because later on in the week I'm going to cut my salt out, and I'll tell you what happens. Cut out the carbs, so I would eat protein about every hour and a half. And then the only carbs, I would eat 4 green apples. Now I was big, I was 240. So for me, those green apples, they got good enzymes, but they were enough of a sugar to keep my brain active. Because if you just go no carbs, and again, my proteins were no fat. They were white fish or chicken breast. So again, there was no fat virtually and no carbs, because what I was trying to do is deplete all the glycogen. So this would go on to Wednesday. Wednesday evening is when I would start to carb up. So now I would introduce a small baked potato, small yam, sweet potato. Those were the only carbs choices. I didn't use rice, pastas, and breads because, again, those things can bloat you and probably would bloat you because of the water. Wednesday night, now I would completely cut out all the sodium. So all the seasonings, salt, etc. would be cut out, diet sodas, coffee, all my supplements were cut out. Now what I'm doing is I'm now going to start to flush the sodium out of my system. Moving into Thursday, I'm going to have my protein meal every hour and a half, and I'm going to have a small carbohydrate, a small potato every hour and a half. I would rest from training and cardio, other than a little bit of walking, just because I was bored sitting around the house all day long. And Thursday morning is when I would start to cut my water. Again, I'm not going to get into how I did all that. If you're interested, I'll send you a copy of my book. Just send me an email, drjdrj@allamph.com, or you can message me with your email, and I'll send you a copy of that book. But that's essentially what I did. And then, I'm cutting my water, I'm carb loading. And then, of course, Saturday morning is when I would introduce my simple carbs, which were dried fruits. And that would continue all the way up through the evening show. I stayed on the yams and the chicken. I cut out fish the last day and a half. I didn't go eat cheat meals. I didn't, eat burgers and all that. Because, again, I wanted to look good at the evening show, especially if I was a contender for the overall, which I was in many shows. I didn't want to look terrible at the evening show because that's when they judge that. All of the prejudging is when everything was happening in the morning. But the overall winners were picked at night. So again, you need to look good the whole day. Anyway, if anyone's interested in what I did, let me know and I'll send that out to you absolutely free. Or you can go to allamericansups.com and you can download any one of my 22 books for free.